Hey, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Hey, I had a meeting with Bernard.
You got a meeting with Bernard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jay Logan.
Yeah. Go on back here.
Great piece of artwork here. It's definitely a different kind of thing. A great set. Hey, sir.
You Jay?
I'm Jay.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Bernard.
This is my comrade Dan Orth.
How you doing?
Hi. From and
Bernard? Glad to meet you.
and this is the camera crew. This is Bobby Polino.
How are you?
And it's an honor to be here with you today.
Honor's mutual. Please come in. It's the real thing, yes.
It's the real thing. So we're here with the wonderful man, Coleman, and his wonderful label, ESP Disc. And I'm here to talk about my dad. I'm searching for my history and my family tree. And he was wonderful enough today to share some information with me about his wonderful label and all the wonderful artists that are on his label. And it's just an honor to be here today, and it's incredible. It's been an incredible day and a week for me. I really appreciate that.
It's incredible.
So,
have you seen your dad?
I have seen him. Yesterday was the first day. I saw him yesterday in 40 years.
44th time. 40 years.
40 years. Yeah. Ever since that beautiful film that you for your company.
Little boy.
That little boy.
Little boy.
Yeah, that's me. And I haven't seen him since him and my mom and him split up, and we fled to California.
How is he?
It seems like he's better.
He's better.
Seems like he was all there. You know, everybody told me he had passed.
We all assumed that he had.
Yeah, it's all on the internet that he was gone. You know, all Don Pullis.
Yes.
And he remembered me. But what's ironic, I used to play in a disco band in the '70s, and we were in Boston. And I walked downstairs, and there was Sun Ra Orchestra was downstairs playing.
Oh.
So I went up to Sun Ra. I said, hey, I said, do you know my dad? And he recognized me. He said, yeah, you're Giuseppi Logan's kid. You look the same. I said, how do you know that? He said, I know your dad. I haven't seen him. And that was the last time I saw Sun Ra.
And it was Milford who brought Giuseppe to ESP. And I knew nothing about him. But on the strength of Milford's feelings about him, I said, all right, we'll give him an album. That's how it happened. I had no idea what he sounded like.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you just went on a whim, just a prayer, just said, I trust Milford's judgment, and you didn't, usually companies, they audition or they go to see him at a club.
Nothing of that sort. This is a very unusual label, as you can imagine, and it was built on endorsements by artists. Our first artist brought in other artists, and we recorded them on the strength of their recommendations.
Wow. We
often did not hear them before we recorded them. It's most unusual, I realize. It's not very businesslike, supposedly.
That's incredible.
Well, what's more incredible to me, looking back after 40 years, is that not one of the artists was a mistake. They were all fine. Well, it's a whole community, and they all knew and respected each other. And to the extent that they played with each other, I knew we could work with them.
So my question is, when was the ESP established? When did you decide to do this, and what made you start this label?
My particular insanity was to identifying and supporting innovative artists. And I'd become a lawyer, but I didn't want to practice law in the conventional sense. And they needed someone to support them. No, they didn't need a lawyer. They needed someone to document their music. There was John Coltrane, there was all these great artists of the 40s and 50s, but their successors. And they had to be documented. I think they would have been lost.
So how did you acquire the other artists? Like I saw, like Ornette Coleman.
Before I started the label, a young woman came to me. She was a choreographer, lovely woman. She said, I understand you help musicians. She said, well, why aren't you helping Ornette and Cecil? Ornette and Cecil who? You know who they are, she said. They're the princes of modern music, she said. And I talked with them. They want you to manage them. No, I've never managed an artist before. Yes, he said, here are their phone numbers, call them. They're expecting you to call them. And Ornette and Cecil both came aboard.
Wow.
And that's how that began. Ornette had made a production of his own. He produced a concert of his own group at Town Hall with other musicians, a very elaborate thing. And he was sitting with it. And there was some technical problems with the tape. So he gave it to me, and I had to take the problem fixed. David Eisenton, his bass player, had turned up his amp and was distorted, so he couldn't use the tape. So I fixed it for him, and then I got the rights from him to issue it. When I did start the label, he gave me the right to put the record out.
Wow.
That's how that happened.
But you're so instrumental in a lot of these great historical musicians' lives. Your label is amazing because even the music is extraordinary because you started a whole new category. And that's taking a chance that no other label would ever have taken those chances that you took.
It was my call. I felt it was something I could do. There was a need, and I could fill that need, so I filled it.
So were you instrumental in some of the filming, like the film with me and my dad? How did that? I just want to know, how did that take place? You know, because I was with Mr. English. You found him in France, or how did that?
Ed English. I saw him as a very gifted filmmaker. He was a friend of my sister, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Personal friend. And I liked his work, and I gave him the underwriting. It wasn't a lot of money. He went out and recorded Sun Ra, filmed Sun Ra. He filmed a group called the Fugs, and along the way, I guess he filmed your father and you together.
Wow,
as he went.
Wow. Is he still around?
Yes, he is.
He is. Okay.
I could find him for you if you like.
That'd be wonderful. I'm here with Mr. Stolman, and this is very interesting. Just the history of things. This guy is an institution by himself. If it wasn't for this man, I probably wouldn't have some of the creative abilities because he allowed a lot of the musicians in the early 60s to flourish, and it put a lot of creativity in me from helping my dad. It made me want to record records. I grew up thinking that that's what I was supposed to do, record records. And just to talk to him right now, it's just wonderful because he's so influential in a lot of the early jazz and avant-garde type of music styles, and just thinking outside the box. And he thought outside the box. And there weren't many people back then in the 60s during the time when you had a lot of racial tensions, and he gave a lot of artists and black artists a chance, and he had an open heart. So, you know, he needs to be known for having that, because if it wasn't for him, a lot of these artists would have never, ever had a chance and opportunity to record. And so, like I said, we're here again talking with him, and he's going to share some more history with us. I have a couple of more questions, and he went through every period, the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X. There's questions that I'd like to ask him that's historical, and so we're going to ask him a couple more questions. So yeah, like I said before, we're here, back here with Mr. Stolman, and we're going to get into some history now that probably nobody knows but him. And one of the questions we're going to ask him is the tone of Greenwich Village and the East Village during the time this beautiful music was being made. A couple of things happened in this area. One thing happened, and I'm very interested in it because I have the same birthday as this man. I was born May 19th, and so was Malcolm X. And I would like to know what was the tone and what actually happened to the music scene when that happened. Did some of the musicians, were they in shock when Malcolm X was murdered? Did it stop production here at ESP Disc? Could you tell us a little bit about that sad day?
At the same time, Bobby, it was the same period as when Bobby got killed.
Right.